but tonight, since I have a half an hour, I'm going to let you choose what you guys want to talk about. Okay, so I got these topics right here. So you tell me which one you're interested in. And we'll do a show of hands. And the one that's got the most votes, and we will talk about that one. So the topics are game model, game phases and game principle, methodology, or positional play. Methodology? Methodology? Louis? Huey?
That's fine.
Anyone? All right, methodology. Okay. And I was gonna, I didn't bring my computer, so I have this beautiful presentation for you guys. Now I gotta do it on the board. So, no problem. So, all right, so what is methodology?
The way you transfer your principles to the field, the way you plan it, and the way you teach it.
Anyone else? What's the methodology? Every club, when you're going into this league, gentlemen, you need to get locked in on your methodology. It cannot be random. Do not be random going into MLS next. Trust me. Don't be random. It's very, very important that you have an idea as coaches what you're doing and what it's called and why you're doing it and all that good stuff. Okay, and I'm just giving you my advice for 25 years of coaching. Okay, there is a next level. There is a next level, and I've probably learned more in the last 5 years than I learned in the previous 20 years. So, methodology. Okay, if I were to describe it, methodology. Are defined exercises or method, can't use methodology, but it's a defined way of teaching something. Okay? So, in our academy, we have this very well defined, and we start to teach our coaches each method inside out. Okay? And methods as compared to methodology, and this is a good example, is methods are just the tip of the iceberg. Tip of the iceberg. And methodology is all the other stuff underneath the water that is the logic behind the method. Okay? So a rondo is a method. Right? Barcelona uses a rondo. That's a method. But you have to understand the logic of why they're doing the rondo. Okay? The Dutch are masters of the positional game. Right? And so you have to understand the logic of the positional game. What's in the depth of the positional game? Okay? I'll give you another method. Okay, so rondo, positional game. A tactical situation is a method. A tactical situation is a method. It's different than a rondo. It's different than a positional game. But it's a method, and you have to understand the characteristics of that method. What makes a tactical situation a tactical situation? Why do you use a tactical situation? Right? Give you another method. A technical execution or a technical execution. No defenders, straight working on your technique. Okay, so when you do a passing exercise with no defenders, so you know, that's what we call a technical execution. You're doing something to improve the technique of a player without complex, without defender, it's a technical execution. As soon as you throw in a defender, it's a tactical situation. Right? So you have the pressure, it gets more complex. That is what we define as a tactical situation. Right? So you have all these different, I think it's really valuable to understand it because each of them has its purpose. Okay? So in our academy, again, I have a presentation on this that looks a lot better than this morning. But we have 6 methods. Okay? So I'll write them down. And what we try to do is we use these methods kind of like puzzle pieces. practice. Sorry. These are our methods. So we've got rondos, right? Big part of our play. You know, it's not everything, but typically we start off our trainings with a little bit of bomber time where the fields are set up before the kids even arrive. We have the rondo grid set up, and we have the balls out, and the kids know they come there and they're immediately in a rondo. It could be three versus one, could be 4 versus 2, could be 5 versus 2. Balls out there, nice tempo, and as soon as we get going, we probably spend another 15-20 minutes in the practice doing the rondo. So that's a rondo. So everyone, yeah, you can either be a fan of it or not fan of it, but if you don't understand it, it's easy not to be a fan of it. But the reason you have a rondo, why we teach the rondo, is because it speeds up thinking on the play. Players have to think quicker. Players have to position their body well. 1 touch, 2 touch, and you can design rondos in 100,000 different ways. So instead of me, you know, when I went to the Dynamo, Matt Jordan, the GM, said, I want you to do this, I want you to coach your teams, and I want you to give the guys a curriculum. And I said, well, I'm not going to hand the guy what to do. Here's every practice that you ever need, right? What I want to do is teach the coach about methodology, about methods. And then if they understand each of the methods, they can be incredibly creative in there, in designing their methods, right? When you need a curriculum is when they know nothing about soccer. Like if it's a parent and they know nothing about soccer and they're just starting out, it might be good just to give them everything, right? And really, really teach them. But I had really good coaches, but they didn't understand methodology. So, rondo. I could talk an hour and a half about rondos in there, but there's so much in the rondo. You know, for me, the rondo is in that game right there. It's when you just won the ball, and then you try to keep it to your possession. You try to secure possession. Okay. So what I see in here is the team wins the ball a lot, right? And then they just try to attack immediately, right? So they win it, go. So what you get is we have it, they have it. We have it, they have it. We have it, they have it. We transition. A lot of transition soccer, right? And that's all over the country. It's a lot of transition soccer. So our model, our game model, our way that we aspire to play is to dominate the game with the ball. So we want the tempo to be, we have it, we have it, we have it, we have it. We lost it. We have it, we have it, we have it. So we can get to 70% possession. That's our model. And I think it would be really good for you guys to decide your model as a TDP Elite. And it could be, hey, every coach do their own thing and they have he likes Manchester United, he likes there, and you can do all different models, right? That could be a way of doing it. Or you can also have a model as a club, as an elite club. And this is how we aspire, because our 13s have it here, and we know the next year the 14s is going to be the same model, and the 15s is going to be the same model, and then they learn consistently like an academy up through the years. That's my recommendation, right? You have a model, because you're in the development business, right? You're not in the winning business, you're in the development business. Anyways, we started with a model. I think every top academy has a model. Then they go into methodology. So rondos are a method. Technical executions, they're technical executions we do a little bit every day. With the young players, we really focus on the skill building program. We focus on technical control of the ball. But a technical execution can be, technical execution could be a passing exercise. It could be take out all the greens, and it could be just circulating the ball at speed. Circulating the ball at speed, and you're focused on technique. Okay? Those are technical executions. Okay? And that's great because the players are 100% focused on technique, how they open up the body, how they lock their ankle, how they, teaching them new skills, how they clip in the ball. It's a technical focus. There's no worry about defenders, right? And when we do that, and we do that for portions of training, we've started to add cognitive load to the technical. So we'll do, before you receive the ball, okay, we don't do necessarily passing exercises anymore. So if there's a group of two right there, right? We're on our toes, we do check, check, the ball comes. And then we play back, check, check. So we're doing a perception exercise with passing. Right? So we add a cognitive load to it because development is all time, right? So technical execution, you can add really, really cool elements to this, right? Okay? Tactical situations. These are really interesting because a tactical situation is a slice of the game, a small slice of the game, and the big characteristic of a tactical execution is that it's a repetition. It's a rep. Okay, so it's, there's a starting scenario, so I'll give you an example of a tactical situation. Give you one from France Hope. So here's a tactical situation. Okay, tactical situation. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 versus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay? And you're working on the build-up, the CPA. We call it the collective possession to advance. So this is a tactical situation. And maybe there's 20 balls. Right here. 20 balls behind. Okay? And you start off on a scenario. All right, boom, the ball's played out, it's a goal kick. And these guys go from they have the ball, so this is the starting scenario, ball goes out, boom, to how they open up, how they gain their position, where they go, the zones of the field, and then it's a rep. So you're working on the creation use of space, and the ball comes in, and they've got to solve the problem. If Greens win it, they've got the ability to counterattack. And it's a rep. Maybe it lasts for 30 seconds, maybe it lasts for 15 seconds, or a minute. But you can guarantee in 20 minutes you're going to get X number of reps. That's different than a game, right? Because in a game you can't guarantee that you're going to get 20 build-ups. That makes sense, right? So if you want to train your with maximum reps and you're working on all your game principles and everything else, the tactical situation is a great method. And again, it's a method because there's a million different exercises you can do. Short, smaller numbers, bigger numbers. That's one example. You could be working on your pressing, right? Your focus, you could be right in the middle, and you could be getting the repetitions, and you're focused on the pressing. The ball comes in and how you collectively press on the timing of the pass. Those are the principles. So the tactical situations are a method. Okay? 40 to 60% of our trainings, 40 to 60% of every training day are games. We play games, 40 to 60% of every training. Okay? And games are divided into two things for us. Design games, where we design a game. And you guys know, obviously, Tuchel, right? From Chelsea, right? And he's unbelievable in all these methods. He's a really great teacher. But he'll design games to bring out situations, right? So if he wants his wingers to be going central, right? He'll cut off the sides of the field. He'll make his field like this, right? He'll design the game to bring out characteristics. Or if you want to work on moving the ball from one side to the other, they put on 3 goals. You design the game so they can switch the point of attack, right? So there's all these different types of games that you can create. And again, You know, you can go deep into it to train a game principle. Okay, you want to train, how do you get open from a man mark? How do you teach a young player to get open from being man marked? Well, I'm going to design a game. Right, so here's my game. I'm going to be creative as a coach, and this is the game, and here are the rules. And now they've got to, you know, this guy's got a man mark, and he's got to get open. Well, you've just designed a game to teach a player how to get open to the man mark. Right? The characteristics of a game is that it's game-like. You don't stop and start it all the time. Right? You play 8-minute game, and then you talk to them. Or a 5-minute game you talk to them. Whereas in a tactical situation, it's a short rep, 25 seconds, and you can talk to them. And then you get another rep. So you can see the characteristics of a game and a tactical situation are very different. Does that make sense? And when you combine all these methods together in one training, then you get a really rich training. Positional games are probably the most efficient games that you can play to teach football. So I'll give you an example. This is a big field. Okay. So this is, imagine this is 24 yards by 12 yards, right? And you're playing, and these are different colors. You're playing 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 versus 4 plus 3, 1, 2, 3, okay? And everybody, you know, asks what's the difference, what makes a positional game a positional game? Well, the thing in a positional game, as a method, is this guy right here, you want to rationally occupy space. So they're not just running around, just trying to get the ball. They are positioning. And believe it or not, they're trying to run as little as possible in a positional game. So the objective of a positional game, like a rondo is to keep the ball. You keep the ball, keep it, you keep it, you keep it, you keep it, you keep it. Thousands of repetitions over and over and over and over again. Positional game is about how you advance the ball. Right? And there's rondos within the positional game. So you win a ball here, boom, you win a ball here. Everybody's closing you down, that immediate reaction, right? That's what we're teaching our players, is that immediate reaction to the ball is. Well, he's got to keep the ball. He's got to secure the ball. So he's not trying to attack. 100% of his focus is on securing the ball. So, boom, release. Now we get our shape. We calling that securing the ball. We secure the ball. When we lose the ball, we secure the ball. We secure it, secure it, secure it. When we win it, we don't lose it. When we win it, we don't lose it. All right? And so in a positional game, there's a million different ways you can do it. You can play 3v3 plus 2, you can play 2v2 plus 3. But the positional game is basically, how do you get the ball from here to here? And once it's here, how do you get it to here? And you do that through the position. I'll give you one big concept, okay? Give you one big concept here is the concept of say this team's playing a diamond, right? And you have your central midfielder in here, you have what's your right back here, it's your left back, your left wing, your right wing, it could be your 10, it could be your 8, right? But you get this rational occupying the space, and you have to advance it. This is the most active player on the field, and this player has the ball. So he should be trying to play in between the lines and in the gaps. Okay? And then you have positional play where the player can enter, right? And you create 2 versus 1s on the width. You have players that can play in between the lines. And then this platform, man, you can play it for 10 minutes and you can teach so much in this game right here, right? It's just an amazing game. You can teach defensive principles like closing the creating density. You can teach offensive principles like playing in between the lines. It's very technical because you have to do half turns and play and reposition. So that is really, really big in our methods. So about 40 to 60% of our trainings, we really like to have games, either design games or positional games, and the kids love them. And then we have 2 more. So you know what the technical execution is. There's no defenders. Focus on technique, focusing on precision, adding more technique to their game. Tactical situations are with the pressure of defenders, and it's a repetition. And you can design it around a throw-in. Okay, here's the starting. We have a throw-in. Let's train this. Let's get 25 reps on this throw-in, and boom, you make a rep out of it. Games and hybrids are a combination of both these 2. Hybrids are a combination of this and this. I can go into that later. And then the other big thing that we have is we have IDPs. Do you guys know what IDPs are? Individual development programs. So we have individual development programs for all our players. So we look at each individual on our team, and we have a template or a form that goes through, and there's questions and answers, and we look at areas that they can improve and areas that they're strong, and we create an individual development plan for them to make them more aware of how they can develop. And every kid has an IDP. And for our high potential players, our HPPs, we even have more. Like we're designing, 2 days a week, you're going to come with us for 20 minutes, and we're going to work on this. So these are all our methods in here. What do you think?
How often are those HPPs, IDPs reviewed, reassessed?
For the younger ones, we have like a general IDP. It's more general, right? So, I'll send you guys the examples, and I won't go through the examples, and I'll give you templates, right? So you can use it, but it's more general. As they get older, we get more specific with them, and we work in themes. We think that there are 7 big themes that we keep repeating ourselves to the players. We want our players to communicate more. We want our players to have really good perception skills so that they can see the field looking around, so we can train that. We talk about body orientation. We talk about surveillance, which is turning your head and looking. And that's where I got the looking at that thing is at Barcelona. They were doing exercise like this, and you see every kid go boom, 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 boom. So they're getting thousands of repetitions. Think of how many passing exercises we did, right? And we're not gaining that perception. So communication, perception, transitional excellence. When we lose the ball, we want to be excellent, racing to win it back or close it. Or when we win it, how fast we open up. So it would be great transition. Technical excellence. We want to train like highly technical players. We're constantly training technique. Professionalism. How you arrive to training, right? How you respond to coaching, right? All these little things are big bucket things we emphasize in our academy. But the IDPs are a big part of it. Pretty general in the formation, 13, 14, 15, and then it's real personal when they get older, 16 or 17. And I don't know if it's possible here, right? But maybe it's something to think about, right? About individual development program. But these are our methods right here. I had a wonderful presentation for you, and this is what I was getting. But just to give you an idea, these are methods, and basically, I coached for 20 years, and I didn't have any name for what I was doing. I was doing all this stuff. I was doing games. I was doing tactical situations, but I didn't have a name for it. I'm sure it's the same thing. You're like, I do that. Yeah. You do that, but then when you really understand why you do it, why you do a rondo, right? Why you do a positional game, why you design games, why you do the tactical situation. I do a tactical situation because, man, it's 20 minutes and I can get 25 reps of a certain thing, boom. And then I can move on to another method or on to another, into a game, right? And it's when you mix and match. And when I took the French course, it was really cool because in U.S. soccer, a lot of times, we did the same thing. You come, you warm up, you jog around, you do some technical execution, you do this, and at the very end, you play. The French, you walk up to the field, and you're in a game. And it's a design game, right? You're in a game. First thing you do is you walk on the field, you do a guy, and then next thing, technical execution for 15 minutes. Boom. Next thing, tactical situation, boom. Fourth part, game again. 4 parts, 5 parts, sometimes from one training. It's interesting. Anyways, that's my half an hour right there. But I'll show you all this stuff on a presentation sometime, and it'll become more clear what we're doing. Is there any questions at all?